right. Here we are again. Episode number, is this 7?
Mm-hmm.
Lucky number 7. Wow, who would ever thought?
We made it. We're almost to 10.
I know. We should do something to celebrate when we get to 10.
Big
what
episode.
can we do? What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Celebrate with our 10 people that be watching us. Shout out to y'all.
We're going to shout every one of you out.
Yeah.
That day.
So make sure you comment or slide in to let us know. Some of y'all do, and we really appreciate it. Yes. But just make sure you figure out some kind of way to let us know that you are watching this episode. So that when we get to episode 10, we can give you a shout out.
Yes. Yay.
All right. So this month has been great. I say great, but I don't know if that's the word, but it's been different. It's been beneficial. It's been some things.
Yes.
Because it's been like a roller coaster. I feel good. I feel almost liberated. Sharing parts of my story and the feedback that have come from a couple people. It's been dope, but I don't know. I just hope it was all for some kind of benefit.
Yeah.
Someone heard it and made them feel.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And then just reaching out to different people within the whole mental health community, and I don't know, it's opened a whole new door, and I definitely know that we're not done.
This isn't the end. Definitely, we're gonna do more. Mm-hmm. We have to. I feel now that we've started this, it's kind of we have kind of a responsibility too.
I think so too. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the point of just like Black History Month. Black History Month is not to isolate a certain month to focus on a piece of history. It's really to celebrate it, just kind of like your birthday. You shouldn't stop just celebrating your life every other day except for your birthday. I have a crappy life and I'm not going to celebrate anything except for my birthday. No, that's not how it goes. It's just this is the month that we focus on it, bring awareness to it, but that awareness doesn't go away after May 31st. And then you just kind of forget. It should continue on, and then now that you have this newfound awareness and information, then you can do more with it. Yeah. So we're definitely going to continue it and try to throw in some new episodes. And I don't feel like we're going to be able to interview and have the people that we made these connections with in this month. It's almost finished.
Yeah,
so we're gonna have to do
it'll spill over. So
it has to.
That'll be perfect. Yeah, and we've met so many people, which is great. We've learned about so many new things, which we'll be telling you guys about later. But I'm excited about and programs. And because it's Mental Health Awareness Month, there's one program in particular that I really want to work with, but they have their own things going on. They're in a different state. So then when the celebration and the focus kind of dies down after this month, then I know that we'll be able to work together and do something. So I'm excited. So it doesn't stop here, okay? And it shouldn't for you either. No. And even though we're going to keep going, we actually are going to end this month with a really special episode. So we want you guys to definitely tune in. We know you're tuning in for every episode, but make sure you don't miss our next episode because it's going to be a special one.
Yeah, so this one's going to be special too. Mm-hmm. We have a special guest. We'll get into that. Mm-hmm. But before we connect with her and tell you about her, then let's go ahead and celebrate something. Okay. What you celebrating, girl? I'm
actually celebrating my cousin. He has a barbecue business called Caesar's Famous Barbecue. Okay. Caesar's Famous Ribs, and he has actually been accepted as one of the vendors or official barbecue restaurants for the Super Bowl this year. So the Super Bowl is going to be in Miami this February 2020. Right. And so out of thousands of businesses that applied to be the official, whatever they do,
restaurant
right? He was selected, so it's very exciting. And so not only is it exciting for him, but my whole entire family, because our family kind of helped start his business and came up with the idea and just have been supporting him. And so we're really excited that this is a big thing. Yeah.
That is a big thing.
So cheers to Caesars.
I'm looking for a job, so
Oh yeah, he'll have plenty. That's another thing why we're excited, because it's there's going to be plenty of catering gigs, and we're okay, we'll help you. He's going to need a huge staff, bigger than what he normally has. So can we get tickets to the Super Bowl?
Are the shirts cute? That's all I really be caring about. Is the uniform cute or
it's
what?
It's just a t-shirt, his little barbecue t-shirt.
What colors?
Maroon.
And
yellow.
White?
It's maroon, white, black. Okay. Sometimes there's a little bit of gold, yellow in there. But
Florida State colors?
It's not Florida State colors. It's very close. I would never in my life. But no, so it's mostly maroon, black, and white. We don't need no garnet.
Sounds very Florida State-ish to me, but okay, so I want to celebrate. What do I want to celebrate? I was like, it's yours. I didn't. What do I want to celebrate?
You have something.
Do I? I want to celebrate. Oh, I know what I want to celebrate.
I know. I was going to say, you actually have a huge celebration, but you can't say it yet.
Can I? Or should I wait? I kind of want to save it for next week.
Wait, so we can make it like a big deal.
And I want to bring like like my favorite champagne.
Yes.
And pop that B.
Yes.
Let's
have like something like a cake or something, or like
cupcakes,
little cupcakes.
Oh, we definitely saving that.
Definitely
saving that. Okay, so what am I going to celebrate today then? I'm going to celebrate, this is kind of something different because we usually celebrate something that's an accomplishment, but I want to take a moment and celebrate the life of my friend, Cedric Hutchison II. He passed away a couple weeks ago in Atlanta, Georgia. Cedric was a big part of a lot of people's lives because he was just such a huge inspiration, especially in the Black travel community, but he was bigger than that. And last Saturday was his funeral, and it's difficult to call it a funeral because it really was a going home service, and it was a celebration of his life, and I was very, very, very proud of his family for successfully creating an event that it was sad. There was tons of crying. Of
course, yeah.
Like the actual eyeballs, like in my eye were hurting. It was sad. There was tons of crying, but it just wasn't everyone sitting around in black in a funeral crying and singing all the songs that make you cry. And his mom even said it towards the end, like it started getting a little churchy. She was like, like this is not what we wanted, and that's not what he would have wanted. So I just respect his family for giving him the proper sending off. And I just hope that everyone that like joined in the ceremony, because they live streamed it, and there were 64 countries that signed in to watch the service. So I just hope that everyone that is sad or in some way affected by his passing, that we continue to celebrate his life. I have a trip coming up next month, and he should have been on that trip. So I know it's going to be sad, but Ced was the type of person that would have just been like, okay, yeah, we sad, but like isn't it shot o'clock? Or like he would not have wanted us to mope around or be sad. So I just want to continue to celebrate his life and the inspiration that he has provided to me directly. I want to continue to bring that into fruition and continue to travel, focus on things that I want to do to live my best life, and do things immediately and not constantly put things on the back burner and like, oh, well, I'll do it later. He was the type of person that would say like, I'm going to do this. And before I could even say like, well, like, how are you going to do it? He would be like, oh yeah, I did this. I'm like, wait, just 5 seconds ago, you were going to do it. Now you've already done it. Like how? He was just like a go-getter.
Yeah.
And he lived more life than a lot of people will, like, not even, they couldn't even dream to live as much of a life as he did in his short number of years. But, Cedric, we miss you. A lot of us are thinking about you all the time. I hope you can see our Instagram posts and you can hear what's going on in Costa Rica right now. They're turning up for you. They're keeping your memory alive. And Cassie is doing a beautiful job of, taking the reins, because she always talks about, like, I never had to do the speaking. Like, he always did the speaking, and I got to, like, hide behind him. But now she has to step into the forefront, and she's taking on that responsibility. She's doing a great job, and we're all helping her. So, to Cedric.
To Cedric.
All right, we're gonna pause for a minute. We're gonna kind of move some things around and get stuff set up for our first interview of this series. Please watch this throughout the entire time. We'll have like little breaks afterwards. So we'll have like a couple 0 to 100 moments, maybe. I don't know. We'll just see how things are going. But we're going to have a few interviews kind of back to back with some breaking up in between. So, check the bottom. You can see that there's minutes left to go. So just keep watching because we have some really dope guests.
I don't want
y'all to miss them because each person, while it's all on mental health, each person definitely has some unique information to add. We have app developers, we have CEOs, we have counselors, we have all kinds of people that will be offering their insight, planting seeds in your mind, and hopefully inspiring you to get more involved in mental health and help to erase the stigma surrounding it.
Right, and it just might be the thing or the piece of information that you need to help you be more comfortable with something that you're going through, or somebody in your family, or somebody connected to you. So definitely listen.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll be back, okay?
Make sure I'm looking in the right way. All right, guys, so pause is over. We are back, 0 to 100 with Natasha and Serena. We have a very special guest.
Yes, we do.
As you can see, we have a guest here, and before she kind of takes the platform and tells us why she's so great, we're going to do like a little intro and tell you a bit about her. So Yassin Hall is our guest today, and Ms. Hall is the CEO of BOSS Class LLC. She's an author, an influencer, and has been successfully selling on Amazon for, 13 years?
Yeah. 13 years.
13 years. That's so impressive. So Ms. Hall was diagnosed with adult attention deficit disorder, and she currently operates 4 six-figure stores, as well as 2 other successful business ventures. Additionally, she has a growing class of students, having risen to over 700 and still growing. She has taught them how to build a profitable business online that creates unlimited freedom and allows them to relax and enjoy many diverse experiences. So I need to talk to her about that. I need to relax. I have them kind of.
That's not it. So in addition to her successful Amazon businesses, Yassin is a published author and mental health advocate for several Caribbean regions, Georgia and Florida. She trains teachers and support staff from lived experiences as Ending the Silence presenter with, is it NAMI?
Yes, NAMI.org.
All right. NAMI is Georgia's Department of Education. She advocated fearlessly for change in her native Virgin Islands, which resulted in the passage of legislative bill number 31-0134, a mouthful, but it funds mental health initiatives and makes it a priority to provide needed services to affected citizens.
So Hall is passionate about sharing her personal story and encouraging others to not suffer in silence, but to get the help that they need and deserve. And in fact, she was so kind to do this interview with us. She's joining us from the amazing Atlanta, Georgia, where I was just briefly visiting. And she is on her way out because she will be wrapping up Mental Health Awareness Month in her hometown of the Virgin Islands. So welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for
super busy.
So we know that you have some stores. So can you tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about your stores, your other 2 companies, and what BOSS really is, like what that is all about?
So I didn't want boss to just be, everybody talks about being a boss, but what is it really? And I had to actually sit down and meditate on this and think about, what do I want the letters of the word boss to stand for? And it has to stand for something that I stand for, which is built on self-motivated success. All my businesses have been built on my self-motivation of where I want to be in life, the things that I want to do in life, and all the things that I want to accomplish in life. And in order to do that, it starts with you. It starts with yourself. So everyone says, oh, I'm a BOSS. Yeah, but we are built on self-motivated success. And that's a big difference. As for my Amazon stores, I've been selling on Amazon, as you said, for 13 years. So I have multiple stores. So I have one for income, one for stocks and bonds investment, another one for retirement, and then another one for my grandbabies. So it's good to have a diversity on Amazon of different products, different services, and different stores, just to bring in the kind of income and, like I said, the goals that you want to accomplish in life. And it's been doing pretty good. My daughter is 18. I gave her her first store when she was 15. And now she's 18 and she makes over $100,000 just by selling on Amazon and going to school full time. So yeah, yeah, it's a great part-time job that hopefully, if you're motivated enough, will lead to you leaving that job, you know?
For sure. And I like that you're not only setting it up for yourself, but you're thinking about your future generations. You talked about your grandbabies, your daughter. That's awesome.
Yes. Generational wealth. We've got to do it. If I had started this when Amazon first opened the door, oh my God, I would be a trillionaire right now.
So, so your courses that teach, you know, how to run a profitable business, it's just around Amazon, or is it bigger than, like, is it more generic than that?
No, it's different versions. So you can have the basic class, which is free, and you can take the free class, and it basically sets you up to how to start your store. It gives you an idea as to what type of products customers are looking for on Amazon, and then something to get you started and get you into the know of Amazon. Because I do believe, as an African American in this community, we need to open the doors to awareness and just give the information out to get started. Now, Amazon is a platform that you need someone to hold your hand. And I say this because even though you open your store, you found products and you send them in, the next process is getting Amazon's customers to see those products. Now, that is something that is forever changing. It is always a rhythmic changing pattern. Things change, buying power changes, customers changing. It's always a cycle. So you have to be in the know and have somebody who knows Amazon well enough in order to tell you these changes are happening. Get ready for these changes and how to consistently bring in income. So it is one of those platforms that you do need an instructor, but if you're business savvy and you kind of know the platform, then you don't. And I also have my Boss Class Institute. So not only do I teach Amazon, I actually also teach how to get seen on Instagram. So I have a free Instagram class as well. So that's the Boss Institute. So the premise of my whole institute is I want to get to the point where college students or anyone that needing credit, you can go to college as well as open a business and do both things at the same time. And one be your passion and one be your purpose.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Passion and purpose. I love it. So we need to have you back when you're back in the States and done with your purpose and then your passion for fun.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. I want to explore this more, and we do need to do an episode on the topics that you're mentioning, both social media growth, and, you know, just having that side hustle. And I think that that's, you know, us minorities, we just, unfortunately, we don't have the teachings that are taught to us, you know, from a child. Most of us don't. So we're learning later, but our now needs to be to focus on what we're leaving behind and our legacy and we can pass along. Except, you know, like the way I'm setting up, the only thing I'm gonna leave is some student loans. So I don't want to leave that to my future children.
I know. We have to think about it because a lot of times, especially in our community, we don't leave anything back but debt. And that's not a good feeling at all.
But a lot of it is just miseducation or ignorance. We just, you know, we don't know. And
just don't know. Yes.
But now we know better. We have access to so much information. So the excuses are dwindling. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that kind of brings us to the main thing that we want to talk about. So you have a background, a diagnosis of adult attention deficit disorder. You're African American. Tell us when you were diagnosed with ADD, how that came about and how it has affected you with your family, like how they took that.
Oh my God. So I was married for 10 years. And he would always make these statements. I'm divorced now. And he would make these statements that something is wrong with you. You're so forgetful. You forget like the most important things. And at first, in the beginning of our marriage, it was more of him telling me, you remember what you want to remember. Mm-hmm. And I would, you know, kind of like battle with that because no, I really want to eat. Eating is necessary. I'm not intentionally not trying to eat all day. Or if I forget to pick up, the way how ADD for me works is it's a repetitive. So if anything goes in the middle of that repetitiveness that I'm doing on a daily basis, is like a stop sign. And I can't remember what happened prior to that stop sign to pick it up on the other end and keep going on the fork in the road. I'm literally standing there and there's forks in the road and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to turn back because I don't know. I honestly do not know which way to go right now because I can't remember where I was going. And it can get frustrating a lot of times. And especially when I did not know what it was. So, for instance, I have the 4 children, and my routine is to pick them up in order of when they got out of school. Well, let's say one of them I had to go to school early and pick up because they were sick or not behaving or for whatever reason. And I go pick that child up and I come back home. I have just broken my entire cycle. And I would forget one of the kids at school because I'm like, I don't remember who I have now. Right. And they're sitting right there, but it's just because ADD lost focus. I reach home and I get that phone call, Miss Hall, you did not pick up your son today. Oh, I got to go right back out. And it's little things like that, paying the bills. Got to remember to pay the bills. And later on, it progressively got worse in the marriage to where he lost compassion for it. He just started looking at it as, I'm using it as an excuse to be forgetful. At the time, I didn't know it was attention deficit disorder. So here I was. He was upset and I was upset, putting pressure on myself because I'm really trying hard to focus, but something is stopping me and I don't know, am I really dumb? Am I really, you know what I mean? Like you feel these feelings against myself. So then I started to develop self-doubt, a lot of self-doubt in myself, and didn't feel like I was being adequate enough as a wife or a mother. I felt so belittled for my own self for something that if I just knew what it was. So we kind of knew the last 2 years that we were going to get a divorce. But what I didn't know, which ended up being a positive, is that he started to document all the things that I was doing wrong.
Wow.
Yes. And brought it into court against me to get full custody of the kids. Not cool, but it was an eye-opener. I did not realize when they sat there and read all these things that I've done over a period of 2 years, I broke down because I couldn't believe that it was so much. Like something was seriously wrong. And between being angry of being divorced, angry of him doing this to try and get full custody of the kids, taking the only thing that really holding me together right now is the kids. The judge didn't like it. He did penalize him for doing such a thing because, yes, the information was helpful, but for the reason why you're doing it, it was not cool.
Right.
So he did, the judge did order me to get a psychological evaluation. I was so mad because because my mom was schizophrenic, I thought I was becoming like my mom. And that was something that I've always fought all my life. I always said, I'm not going to be my mom. I'm not going to be my mom. And in that moment, I felt like, oh my God, I am my mother. This is what's happening to me. I'm turning into my mother. And that was before I had all the compassion for the illness. I didn't know. I just didn't know. And when I went for the evaluation, they were like, young lady, because of all the trauma that you have seen with your mom, and both of my parents actually have mental health disorders, my dad and my mom. So I'm the only child. So it's not so much that my ADD was inherited. My ADD was caused because that's the only way my brain learned to cope with everything that I had seen.
Okay.
So that's when I was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. And I started to do the research and realize what it was. And when I started doing it, it was clicking like, oh my God, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me. And then I learned that you could actually learn through therapy how to cope and deal with the things. If you know, once you know what's wrong with you, you can address the things that are wrong with you. Okay, you forget a lot. So in my phone, I had for instance, this interview for 2:00, I had 17 different reminders to just remind me, you have this coming up at 2:00. You have this coming up at 2:00, you know? And basically that's what I have to do. I have to set a ton of reminders. And I also have my support staff who help me run my businesses. They remind me as well on top of the reminders. So it's one thing once you know, and it's a lot easier now because now I can come right out and go, to a new customer, a new student coming on, I can tell them, and I do this in my classes. that do understand that if you send me a message and I do not respond to you, I am not avoiding you. I have attention deficit disorder. This is the cause. It can cause me to forget and be focused. Just don't feel like you're bothering me. Just go ahead and just keep reminding me until I do it. And that once you put it out there, they're like, okay, we understand. It's not that she's being a bad boss or a bad, business owner. She has this diagnosis. She's admitted it. And all right, we're good. And I'm just going to keep reminding you, no problem.
That's awesome. So it definitely starts with awareness.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think next is acceptance, so that you can put the tools in place so that you can, beat it and,
yes.
still be productive, even though you have all these hurdles. Do you think that it's because of you weren't, I guess, green or ignorant to mental health? You had two parents that had mental health diagnoses. Do you think that helped you accept it right away?
Yes. Well, sort of, because it brought me to the attention that my mother was depressed and then turned into schizophrenia. Oh. My father was depressed and he became a hoarder. So my diagnosis didn't look anything like what I've seen on a daily basis of my young life. So it opened me up to realize that these mental health disorders looks different in everyone. So it opened me up to wanting to know more about it, which actually turned out to be a good thing because my oldest son is bipolar. My second son went through depression and is in recovery right now from depression. My third son was born with autism, and my daughter was diagnosed with autism at 14. So I have had exposure to all of these because of my own acceptance.
Wow. But you're unique though.
Yeah.
Yes.
How was your family support there? Because, so since they had some experience with your parents, how was the rest of your family and how did they react to your diagnosis?
Well, once my kids came to the age that they understood what ADD is, like my daughter, she goes through it with me all the time. She would just automatically, if she needs me to remember something, she's like, never mind, Mom, I'll just do it. Because she knows, right? But at the same token, when it comes to mental health disorders, there's something that's uniquely gifted in everyone with this illness. Yeah. And in my case, my son is autism. He's not social at all. If he could wear an invisible cloak all day long, he would be so happy to just be invisible. But he's brilliant. He's a PhD level at 21. He is just brilliant, right? And then you have my daughter's autism, which is completely different from his version of autism. She's learning cognitive. So she takes learner to retain information. But when it comes to time management, promptness, organizational skills, she is like top of the game, like more so than me. She's real meticulous about little details where I would miss those little details. She catches them. So together works together. And knowing that I have attention deficit disorder, I decided to just use it to my benefit. So I can't focus on one project at a time. So I'll just work on 7 businesses all day long.
I love it.
And it works.
Yeah. I think that's so important to look at the strengths that come with it, not just the weaknesses or downfall.
I'm definitely gonna take that. I'm sure I'm going to take so much from this because I already can relate so much, but I think that I try to do that, say okay, well, because I recognize gifts in myself.
Right.
I was diagnosed with ADD in 3rd grade and then ADHD as an adult while I was in law school. And I definitely see benefits in it, but I still try to more so combat it because I can't stay focused on one thing. So I'm too neat. So figure out a way to focus on one thing versus me embracing doing a million things because I'm my most productive self when I have so much to do that I have to fill in every hour with something. If I have free time and I lose track of the one thing that I'm doing that day, I have to be busy or else it's just a waste. So this podcast, and I just started a business, I almost said it. And I've been doing a lot of extracurricular things that aren't so centered towards, they're not geared towards bringing me any financial gain. But I'm recognizing that on the days that I have to record my podcast, or I need to go do this for this program that I'm involved with, or go volunteer here, or do this. Those are my most productive days. So almost like on days that I don't have it, I need to find something to fill that time in.
Right.
Run a bunch of businesses like you so that I can be productive.
Put it to use. I mean, attention deficit disorder is basically the brain is just tired and it's draining and it's dragging. So we have to keep it going. Just keep it pumping. Keep it going with information, keep it going with products, and keep it going with projects. That's all we could do.
Yeah. Have you tried medication?
I don't necessarily believe in it unless it's to a point where it's disrupting your daily life. It does not disrupt my daily life. I'm able to function with it, so I don't want the medication. If I start to see that it's a disruption, without a doubt, I will do the medication. But for now, it's just a matter of just me keeping my brain active is working for me.
Yeah.
So it varies for different people.
Right.
Now, if I have the hyper in it, I would definitely need the medication because then I would be bouncing all over the walls. But because ADD is actually, the brain is slowing down all day long, and I have to keep it up. I don't need the medication to do that.
Gotcha.
How long did it take you before you really came? Because you, right now, talking to you, it seems like you know a lot about it. You figured out different things to do to keep your brain going so that it's not a weakness to you. So when did you get to that point where you were really kind of confident and you were able to talk to other people about it?
2014 is when I came. No, I was actually diagnosed in 2006.
Okay.
Also, it took some time.
Right.
Because I had to go to therapy, and my children were also, they had different disorders. So I was learning to be a parent of these children with different disabilities, as well as learning to deal with myself. And a lot of times as moms, when you have children, we tend to put ourselves on the back burner, and I had to for the benefit of them. My goal as a mom is to get you through high school and that you are productive in life. So sometimes I just had to take a back burner of my own health, and I'm aware, and now that I'm aware, I can put these things in place. And it took me exactly 4 years of therapy to learn how to be a better parent living with ADD. And then once I had learned to master that, and then my kids were old enough to be productive on their own, I was able to focus on me now and focus on how can I get better? How can I do better without all the different distractions? Because if you think of it, if I have ADD and I'm running these businesses plus 4 children, something has to be on the back burner.
Yeah.
So you can't, it's only so many hours in a day.
Right.
So it had to be, it was my health. And I knew at some point I would be in a position to focus on it. So I didn't stress myself out too much. I kept hope alive.
Awesome. So I understand that where you are now and you're vocal about it, it's no secret, but you were diagnosed in 2006. And then, I know for a fact that the stigma surrounding mental health, even ADD, they were like way up there. So my question is 2 parts. One is, what have your experiences been, particularly with you being African American with a mental health diagnosis, and what stigmas have you recognized personally? And then also with your children, you have 4 children that all have unique, gifts and challenges, and they're in school, unless you homeschooled, but so they're in school. And one of the things that we talked about in a previous episode is that, a lot of times the African-American parent doesn't get the opportunity to even decide what they want to do about a mental health diagnosis, because the teachers, the administrators just kind of pass up the Black kid because it's just kind of like, oh, well, they just being bad. Yeah, but this person over here, they have this disorder, so we're going to work with them and give them an IEP and see what we can do to help them. But not you, you're bad. Go to the principal office, you're suspended, whatever. So what have they're all your experiences, but yours personally, and then yours as a mother to your 4 children?
Well, I tend to put myself in the circle of people who are willing to be open-minded.
Okay.
That's the first place. I have come across others who just feel that, oh, your mother had schizophrenia, you're a mental health advocate, you're just seeing these diagnoses in your kids because you're an advocate, and maybe you're just putting all these labels on your children because you're an advocate, you're seeing what you want to see. I do get that backlash quite often. But then my response to that is, but my children are productive citizens. I am a successful individual. So if you're not willing to accept that I've accepted and other people have accepted our success despite our disabilities, sometimes we have to seek and look in the mirror ourselves and see what's going on with you. It goes back to them. Because I don't take it personally, because not everyone believes in mental health, and I get it. And that everybody is entitled to their own opinion about how they reflect and look at things. The most I could do at that point is bring awareness and leave it at the door. And that's all you can do. As it comes to my children, fortunately, I have always moved in areas where there's other children like my children.
Okay.
So when I say move, I have to go in the boonies to get the services and for my children to be successful. And it took a lot of research. I researched the schools. I pick up the phone, call the school and find out what's your percentage. I didn't want to know what your minority was. I wanted to find out how many children in the school do you have that have autism? How many children in the school? What's your percentage of children that have learning cognitive disorder? How many children in your school are you aware of that have bipolar? What measures in place do you have for these children to secure that they are in a positive environment, they're not being bullied, they're accepted, and that they are commingling with other students, and you are forced to teach these other students to accept everybody else's differences. And once I have found that school, I'm like, I'll be finding a house in that area. You know, that's just what you have to do. Unfortunately, that's what you have to do. Like in my hometown, they really don't have any services or education as yet as it pertains to autism. So the children down there who are living with autism, they're kind of like just scoping through life because there is no programs per se that will help them, to nourish them, to be productive citizens. So children with autism down there are more just there.
And they're down there, you're referring to Virgin Islands?
Yeah, Virgin Islands, yeah. So I'm hoping this trip that we could address that and see if we could probably get like a parent support group, because that's the thing that I needed the most and that was most helpful for me, is that I had a parent support group for each of my children's type of diagnosis. Because the best thing in life is not feeling like you're alone in this.
Right. To have community.
Because you will beat yourself up all day long and send yourself into a spiral if you don't feel less alone and this is not something that you did, and get rid of that self-doubt and that self-blame.
And you had it coming from that direction, literally 4 days.
Yeah. You actually became an advocate for your children. So how did you transition into advocating for other people? Did it something you just fell into, or was it a conscious decision that you made?
When I wrote my story, Journey Untold, and I went back to the Virgin Islands for the book release, I had not been back to the Virgin Islands in that sort of capacity of bringing mental health awareness ever. Like, I ran from it because I just wanted to be normal. You know, being around the stigma of my mom was not a very cool thing, and it was hard. It was I lost a lot of my childhood. I didn't have a normal childhood. So going back and reliving those experiences of my childhood again had to have been for a purpose. It could not just been in vain. And when I never knew that specializing in teens and children would have been my specialty of getting through to making a change in this world. I did not know that until my alma mater honest English teacher, she's actually the principal of my middle school. She invited me to speak to the students. And that's the first time I had ever spoken in front of children before. And I got up there and I said my story, and the children that stayed back to speak to me in a forum, I realized that time never changed. Like, it stood still. These children were still at the same place that I was when I was 12. And this was some 33 years later, and they're still here. Something has got to be. I cried that entire flight coming back. I was like, I got to make this change. This is my purpose. This is why I've been through what I've been through. And this is what I was called to do, was to make change in this community. And if I could change my community, which in my mind is the most hardest community to change, I could impact many more around the world.
Well, one thing about it, you're not the type to run from challenges. So
no.
And so much so that you actually got a legislative bill passed, which is really hard to do. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So it was actually 2 bills, and then because of my journey, it actually ended up being where it is today, and I'm going to get to that part. So the first bill, when we got on island, I realized that, okay, I came down there and I'm speaking to these students for the very first time. They call me the teen whisperer. For some reason, I have this knack of encouraging teens to talk about their emotions, where it's very hard to get teens to talk off of the phone as it is already. So knowing that now I have this gift of being able to encourage teenagers to express themselves, and I'm encouraging them to go to their teachers, go to their counselors to discuss it so they can get the help that they need. When I got there, I realized that those teachers and those counselors were not trained in mental health. So I'm down there encouraging kids to talk, but they're talking to dead ears because nobody can help them. So what purpose is this? This is not serving any sort of purpose whatsoever. So the first bill was to have the teachers and support staff trained in mental health, so that when I come back down, which this is my second time going down, now I feel comfortable going down, encouraging the children. I can tell them, go to your counselors and your teachers. They are trained now to help you, and these are the resources available.
That's amazing. So it's a requirement that they have to get this.
It is a requirement, yes. That is a law. And then the second law, when my mom would have her schizophrenic episodes, she would be Baker acted, and that means forcibly taken into the hospital. And that happened in front of me over 100 times. I've seen my mother yanked away. And I personally think that's where the AD came from, is trying not to relive that, because that alone right there is traumatic. Just seeing your mom just forcefully being taken away. And they would take her away, and then within 24 hours, she was back. Like, I didn't even have a time to recoup. We didn't have a time to talk to the doctors to see what is going on. Will this happen again? How severe was this? It was just boom, back in the house again with so our own family members' mental health was at stake, because we had no downtime to process any of what just happened. And each scenario was different. Each takeaway was a different takeaway. And then we also didn't have anybody to come in the home and counsel us as to how we should deal with this and how are we coping as family members with this. So the second legislative bill focused on increasing the duration of time before sending the patient home, giving the families time to access resources, get help for themselves. So we increased it from, it depends on the level, so we increased it from 24 hours to 5 days to 30 days, 5 to 30 days, which gives you enough time to decide what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
you had an idea, but I mean, it's not like you just, it's not like filing a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Or,
right.
You know, where do you go? Who did you reach out to? How did you do this?
The senators. From me speaking out about my story, and I did it globally. I brought awareness in the States. Mm-hmm. That brought awareness to the VI. So when I first came out, pretty much told the American press, the Virgin Islands has this problem, help us. Okay. Please help us. Tell us what to do, because I can't continue this down there. It had a good and a bad, because now we have to admit that our vacation island has a problem. And that wasn't taken too well in the beginning, but now it's come to the point of you have to look at it at the opposite side of the coin. We have these mentally ill people there. We're bringing tourists in. You're leaving these tourists open for something to happen. And we don't want that, because that is our bread and butter. So this is a way of fixing the problem, because before the problem becomes a real problem, not only for its citizens, but for the tourists as well. So it was just a matter of going to the senators and saying, open my mouth and bringing the attention and the media to this problem in the Virgin Islands. So I kind of forced them to go, you got to make a change now because the whole world knows that this is a problem.
No secret.
Nope, not secret anymore. So I wasn't a part of the most recent bill, but I am actually glad for it that it stemmed from me opening my mouth. So now they have passed up a legislative bill that they're going to build a behavioral mental health facility on the island because we don't have any. We don't have anywhere to put people. And staff is limited. The amount of help is still limited, but it's better. Right. But still a lot more work to be done.
Wow. And so you're an author, so can you tell us a little bit about your books and what you've written about, and are there any more coming?
So the first book in this series, which is Journey Untold, and here it is. It's Journey Untold, Twisted Love, My Mother's Struggle with Mental Illness. So this story is about my mother and what it was like to be her daughter, be a daughter of someone who was depressed that went into schizophrenia. And living on an island where the word mental illness, depression, nothing existed. She was just crazy. And I go through a timeline of from birth all the way through to when I got to the States of how her mental illness did impact my life and have an effect on my life. And it's more of a, oh, this poor little girl, to, oh my God, she made it type story. So despite all that I've been through, it's more like a self-help, and it gives teens and young adult. That's the genre that is for nonfiction. So for anyone that is going through, my innocence was stolen. I've been through domestic violence. I've had my mom with schizophrenia. I've been was bullied for 15 years of my life every day, loved learning, hated going to school. Just basically telling you my journey about how I coped and what all I've been through. And I could have left this world 3 times, but God had another plan for me, and I was saved each and every single time. So it's a powerful story of, it'll make you cry, it'll make you smile, it'll make you cry again, and it's just a barrel of emotions in it, but at the end result is this lady made it. You know, so it gives you hope and that inspiration to just keep on keeping on. Because people have said, the readers have said, well, if I didn't even go through half of what you've been through and you still standing here smiling, then I need to read your book because, because I'm going through some stuff now. I don't know how to cope. And then they read it and I'm like, wow, you just made me want to just keep on going and push even harder. So it puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, I can't wait to read it. So what other books you got?
I have Journey Untold Series 2 that's coming out, and that one is called Beyond the Love Curse. And it's about my toxic relationships and relationships in general with people, and going through the method of self-healing. And I'm very open about the therapy that I've had to go through in order to overcome those obstacles in relationships. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with men. It's about women too, friendships, family members. It's a self-healing, self-book about finding yourself through hurt and pain in relationships.
Wow. Did your ex-husband ever come back after your diagnosis? And now that you're an advocate, and I'm sure he knows your journey like all of us do now, did he ever come back and apologize or say anything?
Yes, we did go through a healing after the divorce was final. I played a part that you have to, and that's part of this. That's part of in this new book about the parts that we do play in our own selves in relationships. And I did admit my wrongs, and we came together and discussed both of our wrongs. At first, it started off that we were going to be friends for the sake of the children. Because at the end of the day, we have these kids together, and the kids love both of us, and it's not fair to them to continue seeing us with animosity. It's not helping them. And because they have different characteristics about them, they need both of us in their lives. And today we are best of friends because we're generally best of friends. Because, yeah, life has taught us that we had to rely on each other, and these kids need us so badly in their lives in order to be effective parents and be the best parents that we could be to them. So we are essentially everybody, each other's best friend.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is.
Yeah. Forgiveness is a powerful thing, and that's like the key. Is if you really and truly want internal happiness, you have got to learn to forgive, not for them but for you, all the things that has been through, and put it on the side and across the dot, because you've got to learn to forgive yourself, forgive you.
Right. Wow, gotta do that.
I love how you have embraced your journey and how strong you are now and how you're helping other people. Just hearing how you talk about different aspects of your story, even, you give credit to your husband, like kind of documenting every little bad thing that you did,
Right.
kind of putting you down this journey of discovering your, getting your diagnosis and then being able to help so many other people. So, I mean, I applaud
every bad thing that happens in your life, if you really and truly look past the bad, there is greatness in it.
Right, because I mean, there's a lesson in everything.
Yes.
I don't understand how people so easily just like point the finger, but those are the same people that are not addressing what's going on with themselves, and those are the people that are the bullies and attacking other people, when really they just need to look at the situation and say, okay, well, what could I have done to make it better, or what could I have done to make the outcome different? Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, in many therapy sessions, the hardest thing is accepting your own wrongs. Mm-hmm. That is the first step of therapy, and a lot of people don't even make it past that stage. You have got to come to grips to accept your wrongs, admit your wrongs, and learn to forgive yourself for your wrongs. And because our wrongs are so great to us, not to anyone else, but to us, it is so much easier to blame somebody else than it is to blame yourself.
That's true. That's so true. Yeah. But they're missing out, because I mean, you constantly miss out on opportunities to grow, become a better person. So
yes, we beat our own selves up. I mean, we fail at a job, we take that personally. I get it, but at the same token, you have to reevaluate yourself before you go into the next job. So what did I do at this job that was so bad? Yeah, it might have been the employees. Yeah, it might have been the work. Yeah, it might have been the boss. But what was your reaction to all of this? What was your input to all of this? You have to accept what it is, even if it's a minute piece, you have to accept what that minute piece is that you are at fault at, because that's the only way you're going to grow.
Or at a minimum, evaluate it. At least go
down
and try to figure out. I mean, in some situations, you really are the victim. So in some situations, you lock your doors, you put the alarm on, and someone still breaks in. So it's not always an opportunity for you to point the finger back at yourself, but at least do an evaluation. And some people just won't. Will not. And I mean, you can inform the world of everything going on, that you can expose them to all the information that you have, but you can't make them change. And
no, you cannot. And I get it.
People say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
You can't. And I can relate, because when I was 16 years old, someone did take my innocence away from me, and for a long time I held on to that pain and didn't let it go, because I was so much in the he victimized me. I feel like a victim. And it started to overpower me, to where I started to really believe that I was the victim, and how dare this happen to me. Not looking at the brighter part of, I have a beautiful son that came out of it. And not looking at the fact that at that time in my life when it happened, I wanted to die. Had my son not come about, we don't know if I would have actually gone to that dark place in my mind, and probably wouldn't be sitting here in front of you today. Because of me speaking out, though. And this is why I said, if things happen to you that are not of your control, like you said, you've locked your doors and everything, and they still break in your house, don't keep quiet about it. Let the community know that your house was broken into. And now join the community, join with you to look out for one another and be that village again. And to put measures in place, human measures in place to now look out for you should something like this happen again. So I use my voice. It could have impacted him from not doing it to another person again. So you just have to know that, yeah, circumstances happen, but turn the mirror around and look at yourself and see, my grandmother told me don't go to where it happened. I should have listened. So, like these little things that you don't think about, had I not gone to the countryside on that day, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But it's okay for me to forgive myself for not listening to my grandmother's warning. And we don't know growing up what bad looks like. We don't, you know what I mean? We're all around good all the time and good energy, that we don't know what a bad situation looks like. So when our parents tell us, don't go do this and don't go do that, we need to be more elaborate about, don't just say, don't go do it. Tell us the why out there. Paint this picture for us as to why I don't want you in the club at 16, because there's men out there, you keep going. You keep going with the narrative. Don't just stop and say, don't go, period. Because we're going to go, and we want to know what comes after that, period. Yeah. We just want to know. But if we know that these things can happen to you if you don't follow these rules, then these are the consequences that happens when you don't.
Right. Because, they think, do as I say, not as I do, and don't
right.
Just do it.
And this generation don't listen to that at all.
No, because I think everyone's growing up so fast. So, you gotta give them information to make an informed decision.
They have too much information just to take, just that. I said so as an answer. They don't know why.
Yes. So and ironically with my daughter, because I exposed her to everything, I am very blatant and very conversive about everything that goes on. I'm like, this is what this looks like. This is what this looks like. She's to the point of, okay, well, for instance, this prom, for instance. If I said, you want to go to prom, she'll look it up, and she's like, no, I know what it looks like. I'm good. It's like no interest, because she already knows. Yeah. So it's all about choices in life and what choices you choose to make.
Yeah, it's so scary because social media just exposes everybody.
Oh yeah.
So you can't pick and choose anymore what you want them
to
know, what you don't want them to know.
This is a new age parenting. We are winging this parenting thing because we weren't raised in this. So now we're raising kids in this new generation. It's like, what do? We just winging this.
And I'm sure, every generation has their struggles. Something's new. Something's unique that they didn't have to deal with when they were growing up. So
imagine TV was new when I was growing up.
Really? I think you're deceiving us by how old you look.
Yeah.
Yep, we had just got our first TV down there. Yeah.
So before we wrap it up, what advice would you give to? I know your target is teenagers and young adults. We probably have some teenagers and young adults that will see this. What advice do you give to them? They're dealing with something and maybe they don't recognize it as an issue. What should they do to kind of explore it, maybe in private? I don't know, maybe online? Should they call someone? What should they do if they're not really sure what to do or what's going on with them?
Well, everyone goes through relationships and they have their downs and their ups. But if you find yourself in an emotional strain or emotional bubble for about 2 to 3 weeks or more, find someone that is non-judgmental and just basically turn to them and said, I need you to listen. Those 3 words alone has an impact over we need to talk. The level the weight is different, completely different. You tell someone we need to talk, that person instantly goes into self-defense mode. But if you tell someone that I need you to listen, instantly they're going to listen to what you have to say. So find someone who you trust, tell them that you want them to listen, and just do what I call a brain dump. Get all those emotions from as far back as you can remember, all the way to the present, and just be in that moment and release all those hatred, release all those animosity. If you feel all the self-doubt, say the things that you really feel. I hate myself today. Why do you hate yourself today? Say it. Get it out there already, because once you get it out, you then put yourself in the position to find solutions.
Right. So, but what about that person that, like I said, isn't sure, just a lot's going on, they just feel like something isn't right, but they're the kid that's getting bullied at school. They don't really have any close friends. Their parents don't understand. Maybe they only have one parent. Maybe they don't have any parents. Maybe they're in foster. Whatever the scenario may be, what can they do? Like, is there something that somewhere they can go to try to find answers or find someone to talk
to? They can go to their teachers. They can go to their counselors. They have that one person. Yeah. That one person. Somebody has one, at least one person that they feel comfortable with. And like I said, if you use it all depends on how you start that sentence. Okay. I need you to listen.
Got it.
That is the key right there. Even if it's your mother or your father or your uncle or whatever, whoever your family that you turn to, when you say, I need you to listen, they are going to stop everything they are doing.
Yep. And that's what I want to come out, because it's not like you're going to find someone that's wearing a hat or a badge.
Right.
I'm a listener, or I'm the person that you have your problems. It's going to be someone unique, and it's going to be someone you. So you just have to, and I think that you said it perfectly. It needs to be someone that you trust, that won't judge you, and that's it. The criteria is high. Just someone that you can talk to, and someone that can listen to you and not judge you, and you approach the situation coming from a place of like, hey, I just need to talk for a second.
Yeah. And social media is the greatest thing. It has great things about social media. Yeah. So on my page, Journey Untold, anyone that follows me, they get a natural instant reply of emotions. And I'm basically asking you, how are you feeling today? Basically is what my my reply says. And you'll be surprised that is my most active Instagram page when it comes to responses, because it's coming from a general sense of honestly, genuinely wanting to know how you're doing. And they would write paragraphs and paragraphs, just pouring it all out there. And one of the key things that they said is, I'm so glad that you asked me that. I can relate to what you've just said. And, my sister did this, or I'm feeling this way. They just feel safe in coming to my page, not even knowing who I am. And the things that I post and the things that I say and the messages of encouragements that I do, it makes them feel less alone. And maybe that's saving people every day. That's my hopes, at least.
I love it so much. So is there, this discussion has been amazing. Mm-hmm. I just kind of the clock, and I had no idea we've been talking for almost an hour.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I know you have to go, and we're gonna wrap this up. But are there any other seeds that you want to plant? Any other gems that you want to leave us with and our listeners with before you leave? And we have to say.
I want everyone to practice affirmations. Find your strengths and write down your strengths, and every day say those strengths to yourself. I am strong. I'm beautiful. I'm enough. I'm worthy of love. I am somebody. And start believing those affirmations to where you wake up in the middle of the day and just feel alive. And a reason why I promote affirmations, if you just don't know what somebody else outside is going through, and if you in that moment of I am fantabulous, and you come into that situation where someone is feeling less than worthy, you're able to identify that person instantly, and just a simple, how are you doing? Or a smile, because you know that somebody could use your energy that day.
That's awesome. And with those affirmations, you are strengthening your own energy so that you have some to spare every day, because we're often pouring from an empty cup. But when you do those affirmations, it definitely strengthens your own person, within then you can go out and be that light for someone else.
Yes.
Words are so powerful. So.
For sure.
Oh,
Miss Hall, thank you so much.
Thank you. So
I hope this is not the last time that we talk.
It won't be.
Hey, I needed it from you. I needed that, girl, we gonna see you soon. So enjoy your trip. I can't wait to hear about how it goes in the Virgin Islands and then your vacation after.
Yes.
Jealous now.
Follow me on Instagram. Watch my stories.
We'll add your name like in the bottom in the description so that everyone else can go and follow you too. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna send you a message so I get that. Hey, how you doing too? How I'm doing.
It's really a nice message, and when I thought of it, I was like, wow, everybody could relate to some of this today, and they could use some lightening up. And that's how that message has been my auto reply for like 2 years now.
That's crazy. Well, I know that sometimes I'm not big on, hey, I need to talk to you, or hey, I need to listen, and I have some things I need to talk about. When I feel overwhelmed or like I'm freaking out, I don't often call anyone because I don't really know what's wrong exactly. So I don't know what to say. And someone will sometimes catch me at that right time and just hit me with the how you doing at the right time. And I'm just like, oh, well, this is going on and this is happening. And I'm like talking and I'm like, this isn't even me talking. Like someone else is just like kind of, it's like the floodgates just open and all just floods out. It required someone to come and say like, hey, just call and just want to see how you're doing. And I'm just like,
and then it comes because
it's so important that you said just get it all out. Just say whatever.
Get it all out. Yeah, you feel so much better. Oh my God, it's such a relieving, freeing feeling. It is awesome to just do a brain dump.
All right, we're gonna let you go. I can't wait to talk to you again and hear about your trips. And
thank you.
Thank you so
again.
Much.
Yes.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye now. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Wow, shout out to Miss Hall.
I know, that was a really dope interview.
So it's so crazy because this is supposed to be like a series, but we might as well just go ahead and drop this one.
We had to do like a full interview with her with all the information we got. She dropped some gems in there, and it was really good.
It was really good. Yeah. Like really good. And I'm gonna take her class, and I know we'll stay in touch. Like I could relate to her on so many levels, and I really loved the fact that she kind of told us how to approach a situation, because people like think about if someone comes to you and be like, we need to talk. What the hell are we going to talk about?
Yeah. You get defensive
I want to talk later. Let's talk now. What you want to talk to me about? Like you do get really defensive. But if someone came to me and said, hey, I just need to talk to you. I need you to listen.
Yeah.
Immediately you're going to be like, oh my gosh, like, oh, I'm here. I'm going to listen. And even through moments, because like I'm a fixer. So when someone's talking to me about their problems, I want to like say like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to fix it. But if you kind of set the tone by saying, hey, I just need you to listen to me, then even when I want to be like, okay, then I just need to take a mental note, because right now my job is to listen to you.
Just to listen, yeah.
And then actually recently the other day, I got really sad. Like, and it was after like my friend had passed, but I felt like it wasn't that, because I didn't really know what was wrong.
Yeah.
But when I was in California last time, my dad and I had a conversation. And, just kind of talked to him. I was like, sometimes I feel sad. Sometimes I feel this. Sometimes I feel that. But, like, I just deal with it. Yeah. And he was pretty much like, let's make a promise to each other that when you're feeling that way, you'll call me. When I'm feeling that way, I'll call you. And I was like, yeah, Dad, call me anytime. But I'm probably not going to call you. And it was just because that's just not what I do. Yeah. And in that moment, I was like, well, it's 11 o'clock at night. Who am I going to call this late? I'm not going to wake somebody up when I don't even know what. I don't have anything in specific I want to talk about. And then I was like, well, it's only like 8 o'clock over there.
Did you call him?
I thought about my promise, and I did call him. And then when the phone started ringing and he answered, I just started crying. And he's like, hello. And I'm like, trying to like make it sound like I'm not crying. And I couldn't. I was like, hello. He's like, oh, what's wrong? And I'm just like, bah. So I was like crying. And then, but that's kind of what came from it. By the time we hung up the phone, like I had new projects that I wanted to work on. Because like I was like, well, lately I'm always telling people that they need to call somebody if they feel this way, and blah blah blah. And I was like, then I don't even follow my own advice. And he said to me, baby, if everyone waited until their life was perfect to reach out and like give positivity and help others, then no one would be helping because no one's perfect. And he was like, so keep doing what you're doing, and do more of it because it makes you happy. So do more of it. And he was like, and then, you'll continue to work on yourself. You'll figure it out. He's like, you're close. Just keep going. Yeah. And I was just kind of like, yeah. And then before you knew it, like not only was I not crying and sad anymore, I was like happy and I was like energized again. I was excited. I'm like, oh, I got these 3 new projects I'm about to work on. You know, yeah. And it felt good.
Yeah, but that's growth right there in a stride that you made, because like we've been talking about this, and like maybe last month you probably wouldn't have called him. You probably would have still been like, I'm not calling anybody. But you thought about it this time, and you actually picked up the phone, even though you were like, I don't want to.
And it was, you know, for once, it was, I was kind of like listening to my own advice. And now I really can be more, like, I can be stronger in saying that than when something's going on, like, call somebody.
Yeah.
And I did, the conversation was coming from a place of, I just need somebody to listen to, because I said to him, I was like, I don't even know what's wrong, because he's like, talk to me, and I was like, I don't know what to say, and I was like, that's why I didn't want to call, because like, how do you call someone and you don't have anything to say?
Don't know, yeah.
And I'm like, that's like a double waste of time. And he was like, no. He was like, you know, if you don't have nothing to say, then we'll just sit on the phone. Yeah. And he's like, if you want to cry, you'll just cry on the phone. Yeah. And that was just so like, okay, I'm not being a burden, you know. And then it just. Things just started to flow, and then before you knew it, it was like I was talking.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I've learned from myself either. Like, I also is that once you start to even just say anything, just start with even just how you feel. Like, if you just say physically, this is how I feel. And then, like, these are the thoughts running through my head. Even if they don't make sense, you'll eventually come to a place where you're like, okay, well, this is wrong. This is what's wrong.
Right. And like me with ADHD, like, my thoughts are sometimes hard to pin down. It's really like the Autobahn, and just cars are just flying, and then you're like, well, what kind of cars, what are the 10 cars that pass by, and you're like, oh, they were going so fast, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you're just standing there, and like these cars are just shoo, 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 shoo. But in that particular conversation, it was more so like, well, I don't know what's wrong, but I was doing this, and then I started feeling sad, and the next thing you know, I was crying. So it started with me just saying what happened, what brought me to this place, and then from that, it started me kind of addressing maybe the why. He was like, you know, I think it's because of your friend. Yeah. And I was like, well, I wasn't even really like thinking about that, and I just felt sad. He was like, it's a traumatic situation. Like, you're gonna be sad for a while, and it's okay. And I just really needed somebody to say that it's okay to feel a certain way. Like, it's okay. And I was like, okay. So shout out to Daddy. Thank you, Daddy. He the man, y'all. I wish he could be on y'all's list of people to call, because he's so non-judgy and so kind.
I'm gonna call him.
Okay. Girl, you might have to get in line, because now that I'm comfortable with this calling thing,
you're like, okay.
I need my daily call.
Yes.
But so this ended up becoming a whole episode. So now we're gonna have to probably put out some episodes out of turn, because we really got some great people that y'all need to meet. We have some information that we need to get to y'all, and you know, so we might just have to drop them, and maybe, you know, their interviews will be shorter, and we can do that kind of compilation episode that we talked about, but it just didn't work out on this one. So here we are. So we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna do our 0 to 100 moment, and then I got things to do. I got to go.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, you got to get.
Yeah, I gotta get my baby. He's like, what are you doing?
Right. I hear you.
So 0 to 100. I'll go first.
Okay.
So this week, was it this week? I don't know. Game of Thrones released its final episode, and the whole series ended with this final episode. It's been so much build up coming to the end to see who's going to get on the throne and all this. And so I recently started watching Game of Thrones. I think I binge watched it last year when I was pregnant. I was home and I was just like, I don't have anything else to do. Let me see what all the hype is about. It is, for me, I personally feel like it is a really good show, like probably one of the best shows put out. So I was interested too to see kind of the end and how it was going to, like, who was going to get the throne. And so many people, I guess it's been on for like 10 years. So people have been like invested for 10 years into this show. And so I saw a lot of backlash. So my 0 was just like, the show is ending. It's kind of sad, and you know, it's a good show. We're gonna see, like, I got all invested into it after I binge watched it. And then my 100 is just like, everybody's so upset about the ending, and I really felt the ending could have been stronger. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody, but I don't care. I mean, it's been out for like a week, so if you haven't seen it, sorry for you. So they gave the throne brand. If you watch the show,
but if you watch the show and you haven't seen it, but you're listening or watching us.
Exactly. We love you. So Bran Stark, if you watch the show, you know Bran Stark was the one who eventually ended up on the throne. And he really didn't even end up on the Iron Throne because it was destroyed. So
but he got the throne.
He got the title. Yes, he was a king of all the 6 kingdoms. And people were upset with like how it ended. They felt like the writing wasn't strong, the content wasn't strong, this was missing, that was missing. I saw like a petition on Facebook for like the writers to redo the show and like the ending and like,
well, talk about privilege.
I know. And I was like, these people want to go home. They've been filming the show for 10 years. They have families and stuff, and like the writers,
and they probably don't ran out of money, so the writers are probably like dwindled in number, and they're like, listen, all right, what would shock people? All right, that's what we finna do, okay?
And I saw a guy who actually re-edited himself on Facebook. He did actually a really good job, but he edited like about 10 minutes of the ending to show like the Dragon Queen, like she went AWOL, like she went to the left. And so a lot of people felt like they didn't see it coming and that the writers didn't do a good job of setting it up for her to go crazy. Mm-hmm. And so he edited himself and was like, hey, HBO, like, I just want a job. This is my official application. I don't want to be paid millions. I just want to be paid enough to like take care of myself. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, here's my take on it. Like, you could just some editing. And he actually did a really good job. He just kind of showed a build up of why she would have been feeling the way she was. But
got it.
I'm just like, let those people go home. They put in so much work. It is a really well written show overall.
But at the end of the day, it's a
expensive
show
to make. Exactly. It's a show. It's not real, people. So calm down. So let it go. Let it go.
So what I thought was hilarious, like I watched it. I wasn't like a huge fan. It took me a while to get on board, and it came down to me just like by happen chance, like see an episode, and I was like, oh, and then I was like, okay, let me go back and try to like see what's going on. But I still wasn't just like, oh my god.
I think if I would have started watching 10 years ago from the beginning, and I would have had to wait every week for a new episode, I probably would have felt
about it.
I think I would have fell off, but I binge watched it, and I was like, I was at home, and you just go from one episode to the next, and you're like, okay, and this, and okay.
But what I did like was the memes. So like the one, so like probably my favorite one was talking about Bran, and it was like when you get all the credit from the group project and you didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything. Yeah. That's what people were like. He knew all the time. That's why he didn't do nothing. The whole time he just sat there because he knew.
He's the person in the group, and then he like the MVP of the group, and he didn't do nothing. Yeah. So everyone in the group was like, bruh. And then them bringing out like all the little mistakes they made, like the Zephyr Hills bottle, the Starbucks cup.
I didn't catch the Zephyr Hills bottle, but now I want to kind of go back and look at it because I'm like, after the Starbucks cup, they still
right there by his foot.
They was ready, but that goes to show you those people was ready to go home.
And I think that goes to show that they cut the staff, because normally that's someone's whole job, where their job is to sit there and be like, oh nope, that cup's supposed to be turned just like this, and oh nope, that's supposed to be placed right here. That person would have noticed a flipping Zephyr Hills water bottle and a Starbucks. I mean, like the sleeve, like the lid, everything's there.
Yeah, and it was right on the table. It wasn't like a whole bunch of stuff. It was like right in the middle of the table, nothing else blocking it.
And then part of me wonders if it's like just a joke. Like you guys, like
somebody did it on purpose. I
don't know. Like who knows what's going on in the background with like their contracts and stuff. But if someone's just like.
At the end of the day, let those people live their lives. Like I think one girl,
it's a show.
One girl just got married to Joe Jonas. That girl want to live her Jonas brother life. Like let her go. Let the show go. It's over, people. 0 to 100.
So my 0 to 100 moment is Robert Smith donating. I think it was like $40 million, but basically paid off the entire 2019 graduating class of Morehouse college, paid off all the student loans. Like, side note, I heard someone say, they were like, oh, I think it was my husband. What's my husband's name? Trevor Noah? Yeah, him. I'm bad with names. I still love you though. But he was like, that one person that like worked their way through school so that they didn't have any debt, and like worked 2 jobs to pay off their school, and then they're sitting there like, before he makes the announcement, and he's like, guys have all this debt, not me, and then he's like, after the announcement, it's like, wait, what?
Exactly.
And that had to at least be like 1 or 2 people in the audience that worked their butt off to pay, but I would have been the one with the student loans, and I would have been the one, right? So I got excited. So my 0 moment was, how do I even put? I just wanted to talk about this because how it happens. I don't watch TV. I usually learn a lot of my news from social media. I don't think that's abnormal.
Me too. I don't even have cable.
So That's how I learn my news, and because of that, I kind of learn it like backwards. Like I'll see like memes and stuff about it, and so I saw a meme saying that that this billionaire had paid off the student loans. I don't know if it said Morehouse, but I skimmed all over that. I saw billionaire paid student loans, and I was like, yes, finally, because I secretly have like an ongoing dream, and it's ahead of me winning the lottery, and it's that student loans will just be forgiven, and that's why Bernie, my man, Bernie,
or what's her name? What's the other lady?
Oh yeah,
Elizabeth Warren.
About. I'm bad with names, but I still think Bernie, and everybody think he's so old, but look at Trump, he old. Like, he look old.
He is old.
Yeah. Bernie still, and he's proven, because they thought he was too old last time, and look, he's still kicking.
He's still here.
So if we would have voted for him last time, and he could have been in there, he would still be kicking. But anyways, so maybe my moment was 100-0, because then when I saw it was just Morehouse, I was like, come on, son. But maybe, it'll give them an opportunity to increase their applications and their enrollment, because I had a conversation with someone who is a Morehouse alum, and we were talking about the previous episode where we were talking about the transgender students being able to apply to Morehouse, and his thing was like, well, enrollment's down, so they kind of have to like shift with the way things are going, and shoot, everybody gonna want to go to Morehouse now. Everyone that can.
Yeah.
So, and even if it's not about that, some people may just not be aware of it, and now it's going to invite people to look more into the school, what it's about, and it might attract more people that wouldn't have really been attracted to it.
Yeah. My thought was like, can you imagine the people who like maybe they put off graduation for a year, and they're like, I was supposed to graduate that class, or
even like a semester.
I'd be so mad.
I'd be so mad. I'd be sick behind that.
He did charge the people who he paid off their loans to pay it forward. He kind of said, like, I'm doing a good deed for you. Pay it forward to the people behind you. We'll see how much of them really do. But
I thought it was hilarious that Andrew Gilliman and Angela Rye, when they gave their commencement speeches, they were like, I'm not paying off your student loans, but I hope to, leave you with some gems, or, you can take away something, but it won't be debt. Like, you won't get your debt canceled because of me. But, so shout out to him.
Yeah.
And, for those people that are talking mess, saying like he didn't do anything, special, or he, other people have done it before, or he did it for a selfish gain because it's a tax write-off, or, now he gets other benefits surrounding it. Okay, well, so what? Like, we should do more things that are for the greater good, regardless of whether it has, like, some kind of benefit to the person directly. Like, encourage this type of stuff, especially within the Black community. It was an HBCU, all Black male college, and he is a Black male that paid a bunch of money for something he didn't have to do. So, shout out to you.
Oh, and I welcome anyone, any day. You can be selfish for your own selfish gain and pay off my student loans. I'm totally fine with it. If you want your tax write-off, I don't care. Yeah. You can shout it out to the world if you want to.
I'll help you. I'll be like, this person paid off my student loan.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you could write out a whole script. I'll say things that probably won't even make sense. Maybe they'll make me look bad. I really don't care. I just want the student loans to go away.
Pay student loans off.
Because some months I'd be like, listen, have you yet? You're too low on the list today. But that's it. That's our show. I need a Red Bull. I feel like it was a long day.
I don't drink Red Bull, but anyway.
I got coffee in the car.
Stay tuned for our next show. Very special episode. Something different we're doing. So we'll see you next time.
We might have a show in between that then. Because
of
the
interviews. Yeah. Just stay tuned. We got a lot of good content.
And that's why you have to subscribe.
Yes. So you know when new things come out.
Yeah, you don't have to wait on us to tell you. Okay.
Bye.